Have you ever looked in the mirror, caught a glimpse of yourself, and thought, when did I start feeling this old? Not just looking older, but feeling it. The stiff knees when you get out of bed, the afternoon exhaustion that seems to come out of nowhere, the forgetfulness, the aches that weren't there a few years ago. Many people assume it's simply part of getting older. After all, once you pass 60, isn't that just how life goes? But what if that's only part of the story? What surprises many health experts is that some of the biggest reasons people lose energy, strength, and independence aren't dramatic illnesses. They're quiet, everyday habits that slowly wear the body down without you even noticing. They seem harmless because they become part of your routine. Day after day, month after month, year after year. The good news is that your body is more adaptable than most people realize. Even in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, small changes can support healthier aging and help you feel more energetic, more mobile, and more confident in your daily life. You don't need an expensive supplement cabinet or a complicated fitness program. Sometimes the biggest improvements begin with noticing one simple habit you've been repeating for years. And here's something many people never hear. A habit that feels comfortable today may quietly be making tomorrow more difficult. That's why paying attention to these subtle patterns matters so much. You might recognize yourself in more than one of the habits we're about to discuss. Most people do. There's no reason to feel guilty about it. Nearly all of us pick up routines that seem perfectly normal until we understand how they affect our bodies over time. Think about your own day. For many people, getting older feels like watching little pieces of themselves disappear one by one. Maybe it's becoming harder to carry groceries from the car. Maybe climbing the stairs leaves you more winded than it used to. Perhaps you used to enjoy long walks around the neighborhood, but now you find yourself looking for the nearest bench after just a few minutes. It's easy to shrug these changes off and say, well, I'm over 60. That's just life. Age certainly changes the body. There's no denying that. Muscle naturally decreases over time. Metabolism slows and recovery isn't quite as quick as it was at 30. But here's what often gets overlooked. Many of the changes we blame entirely on aging are actually influenced by the habits we repeat every day. Think of your body like a beautiful home you've lived in for decades. The home gets older, yes, but whether it's well cared for makes an enormous difference. Two houses built in the same year can look completely different depending on how they've been maintained. The same is true for our bodies. You've probably met someone in their late 70s who still enjoys gardening, traveling, or playing with their grandchildren. And you've probably met someone 20 years younger who struggles with daily tasks. The difference isn't about being lucky. It isn't about having perfect genes either. Daily habits matter more than many people realize. The first silent habit is one almost every older adult has experienced. Habit number 1, sitting for too long. Here's something surprising. Even if you take a morning walk, spending the rest of the day sitting can still affect your health. Picture a typical day. You wake up and enjoy breakfast with a cup of coffee. You read the newspaper or scroll through your phone. Maybe you drive to the grocery store. You come home, eat lunch, watch a favorite TV show, relax in your recliner, have dinner, then spend the evening watching another program before heading to bed. None of those activities seem unhealthy by themselves, but together they can add up to 8, 10, or even 12 hours of sitting. Many researchers now refer to prolonged sitting as one of the biggest hidden challenges for healthy aging. Not because sitting itself is harmful, but because our bodies were designed to move regularly throughout the day. When muscles stay inactive for long periods, blood doesn't circulate as efficiently. Joints become stiff. The large muscles in your legs gradually lose strength if they aren't used often. Over time, simple tasks like standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, or maintaining your balance can become noticeably more difficult. Many people first notice it when they stand after watching television. Those first few steps feel stiff. The knees ache. The lower back feels tight. It takes a minute before everything loosens up. Most people blame arthritis alone, but extended periods without movement can make stiffness feel much worse. The encouraging news is that your body responds remarkably well to gentle movement. You don't have to spend hours in a gym. Standing up every 30 to 60 minutes, stretching your arms overhead, walking around the house while waiting for the kettle to boil, pacing during a phone call, or taking a short stroll down the driveway can all help wake up your muscles and improve circulation. These tiny moments of movement may seem insignificant, but over weeks and months they add up. One retired gentleman shared that he started setting a simple kitchen timer every hour. Whenever it rang, he stood up, walked around his living room twice, and stretched for just 2 minutes. At first, it felt unnecessary. A few weeks later, he noticed getting out of his favorite chair required much less effort. His legs didn't feel as heavy in the afternoon, and he even found himself choosing to walk to a nearby park instead of driving. It wasn't one dramatic change, it was dozens of small ones. That's often how healthy aging works. Not through perfection, through consistency. And while sitting too much is incredibly common, the next silent habit is even more surprising because many people believe it's actually helping their health, when in reality, it may be quietly draining their energy day after day. Habit number 2, not eating enough protein. One of the biggest surprises for many older adults isn't what they're eating, it's what they're not eating. Many people think they're eating reasonably well. Maybe breakfast is a bowl of cereal and toast, lunch is a sandwich or a bowl of soup, dinner might be a small portion of chicken with vegetables. That doesn't sound unhealthy, but here's what often happens after age 60. Your body becomes less efficient at using protein to maintain muscle. In other words, the same amount of protein that worked well when you were 40 may not be enough now. This natural change means your muscles need a little more support to stay strong. And muscle isn't just about looking fit. It's what helps you climb stairs without pulling yourself up by the railing. It's what helps you lift a grandchild, carry grocery bags, get up from the floor if you fall, and stay independent for as long as possible. Many people don't realize they're gradually losing muscle because the change happens so slowly. You don't wake up one morning feeling weak. Instead, everyday tasks become just a little harder. You avoid carrying heavy laundry baskets. You ask someone else to move a box. You start choosing the closest parking space because walking across the lot feels tiring. Little by little, your world becomes smaller. The encouraging part is that your body continues to build and maintain muscle well into later life when it's given the right building blocks. Protein-rich foods like eggs, Greek yogurt, fish, chicken, turkey, beans, lentils, cottage cheese, tofu, and nuts can all play an important role in a balanced diet. Rather than eating most of your protein at dinner, many nutrition experts suggest spreading it throughout the day. Including some protein with breakfast and lunch may help your body make better use of it. For example, replacing buttered toast with eggs, adding Greek yogurt to breakfast, or enjoying a handful of nuts with fruit as a snack are simple changes that don't require a complete diet overhaul. The goal isn't to eat enormous portions. It's to make sure your meals give your body the nutrients it needs to stay strong. And don't forget hydration. Protein works best alongside adequate fluids, especially as we age. Which brings us to another habit that quietly affects millions of older adults every single day. Habit number 3, waiting until you're thirsty to drink water. Have you ever finished an entire morning before realizing you hadn't taken more than a few sips of water? If so, you're not alone. As we get older, our sense of thirst naturally becomes less reliable. That means your body may already be running low on fluids before you actually feel thirsty. Even mild dehydration can make a noticeable difference. It can leave you feeling tired, dizzy, or less focused. It may contribute to headaches, constipation, dry skin, and even increase the risk of falls because balance can be affected. Some people mistake these symptoms for just getting older, when in reality, drinking enough water could make a meaningful difference. Now, this doesn't mean everyone should force themselves to drink excessive amounts of water. Fluid needs vary from person to person, especially for those with certain heart or kidney conditions. That's why it's important to follow your healthcare provider's advice if you've been given fluid restrictions. For many healthy older adults, however, building small hydration habits can help. Keep a reusable water bottle nearby while reading or watching television. Sip water with every meal. Choose water-rich foods like cucumbers, oranges, watermelon, berries, lettuce, and soups. Some people find herbal teas or sparkling water make staying hydrated more enjoyable. One retired school teacher shared that she began filling a pitcher with water every morning and placing it on her kitchen counter. Her goal wasn't perfection. It was simply to empty the pitcher by evening. Within a few weeks, she noticed she had more energy during her afternoon walks and didn't experience the same sluggish feeling after lunch. Sometimes the simplest habits are the easiest to overlook. But there's another silent habit that often slips under the radar because it feels productive, even responsible. Yet over time, it can quietly increase stress, interfere with sleep, and affect nearly every system in the body without people realizing it. Habit number 4. Treating sleep like it's optional. Many older adults tell themselves, "I only sleep 5 or 6 hours now." That's just what happens when you get older. It's true that sleep patterns can change with age. You may wake up earlier, get up once or twice during the night, or find it takes longer to fall asleep again. But poor sleep shouldn't simply be accepted without a second thought. While you sleep, your body is incredibly busy. It's repairing tissues, supporting your immune system, helping your brain organize memories, and restoring the energy you'll need for the next day. When sleep becomes consistently poor, the effects often show up in places you wouldn't expect. You may feel more irritable. You may crave sugary snacks. Your balance might not feel quite as steady. Even simple decisions can seem harder than they should. Many people spend years trying different vitamins to increase their energy while overlooking one of the most powerful health habits of all: a consistent sleep routine. Sometimes small evening changes can make a surprising difference. Turning off the television 30 minutes before bed, keeping the bedroom cool and quiet, avoiding heavy meals or too much caffeine late in the day, reading a book instead of scrolling through your phone, getting a little sunlight in the morning to help your body's internal clock. These habits aren't magic, but together they can help create better conditions for restful sleep. And if you're snoring loudly, waking up gasping for air, or feeling exhausted despite spending enough time in bed, it's worth discussing with your healthcare provider. Conditions like sleep apnea become more common with age and often go unnoticed for years. Good sleep isn't a luxury, it's one of the foundations of healthy aging. Habit number 5. Letting stress become your new normal. Stress doesn't always look the way people expect. It's not just rushing to work or meeting deadlines. Sometimes it's worrying about medical bills, caring for a spouse, feeling lonely after retirement, missing someone you love, watching the news for hours each day. Even low-level stress that lingers for months can affect both your mind and body. Your heart may beat a little faster. Your muscles stay tense. Your blood pressure may rise temporarily. You might find yourself sleeping poorly or reaching for comfort foods more often. The difficult part is that chronic stress can become so familiar that you stop noticing it. You simply think, "This is just how life is now." But your body notices. One woman in her 70s realized she was spending nearly every evening watching upsetting news programs for several hours. She wasn't sleeping well, and she constantly felt anxious. Her daughter suggested something simple. Instead of watching television until bedtime, they began taking a 20-minute walk around the neighborhood after dinner. They talked about family. They admired neighbors' flower gardens. Sometimes they watched children riding bicycles or waved to people walking their dogs. After a few weeks, she realized something had changed. She wasn't worrying as much. She slept better. Her evening headaches became less frequent. Nothing dramatic had happened. She had simply replaced one stressful habit with one that brought peace. Stress is part of life, but making space for moments of calm can be just as important as eating healthy foods. Deep breathing, listening to music you enjoy, gardening, prayer or meditation, calling a friend, working on a puzzle, sitting outside with your morning coffee while listening to birds. These small moments remind your body that it doesn't always have to stay in fight or flight mode. And finally, there's one habit that quietly accelerates aging because it's so easy to put off until tomorrow. Habit number 6. Waiting for the perfect time to take care of your health. This habit is incredibly common. I'll start walking when the weather gets nicer. I'll eat healthier after the holidays. I'll schedule that checkup next month. I've been meaning to exercise. I just haven't gotten around to it. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Before you know it, another year has passed. The truth is, healthy aging rarely comes from one big decision. It comes from hundreds of small ones. A 10-minute walk after breakfast. Choosing fruit instead of cookies a few times each week. Adding vegetables to dinner. Drinking another glass of water. Stretching while the coffee brews. Calling your doctor when something doesn't feel right instead of hoping it goes away. These choices may seem too small to matter, but that's exactly how lasting change happens. Imagine planting a tree. You don't see much difference after one day of watering it, or even 1 week. But after months and years of consistent care, that tiny sapling becomes strong enough to provide shade for generations. Your health works much the same way. Small actions, repeated consistently, create meaningful results over time. You don't have to become a different person overnight. You simply have to begin where you are. And one final habit ties all of these together in a way that many people never expect. It's less about what you eat or how much you exercise, and more about the mindset that shapes every healthy choice you make. Habit 7. Believing it's too late to make a difference. This may be the quietest habit of all, because it starts in the mind. Somewhere along the way, many people begin telling themselves a story. I'm too old to change. The damage is already done. What's the point now? Those thoughts are understandable, especially if you've been dealing with health challenges for years, but they can quietly keep you from making choices that still matter. The remarkable thing about the human body is that it continues to respond to healthy habits throughout life. People in their 60s have improved their strength by adding simple resistance exercises a few times a week. People in their 70s have lowered their blood pressure through healthier eating, regular walking, and working closely with their healthcare providers. People in their 80s have improved their balance, mobility, and confidence simply by staying active and engaged. Healthy aging isn't about turning back the clock. It's about helping your body function as well as it can today. That means celebrating progress instead of chasing perfection. If you walked for 10 minutes today when yesterday you didn't walk at all, that's progress. If you chose water instead of a sugary drink, that's progress. If you added vegetables to your dinner, went to bed a little earlier, or finally scheduled that checkup you've been putting off, those are all victories worth recognizing. Too often we underestimate the power of small improvements, because they don't feel dramatic in the moment. But over time, they become the foundation of a healthier life. Imagine two neighbors, both 68 years old. One decides that aging means slowing down completely. They spend most of the day sitting, skip regular movement, and assume feeling tired is simply part of getting older. The other starts making one small change each month: a short morning walk, more colorful vegetables on the plate, better sleep habits, drinking enough water, spending more time with family and friends, stretching while watching television. Neither person changes overnight, but after a few years, their daily lives may look very different. One may find everyday activities becoming increasingly difficult. The other may still be gardening, traveling, volunteering at church, playing with grandchildren, or enjoying neighborhood walks. Those differences often begin with ordinary choices that seem almost too small to matter. Today's 7 silent habits weren't meant to make you feel worried. They were meant to help you notice opportunities. Because healthy aging isn't about being perfect. It's about giving your body the support it deserves. Let's quickly remember the habits we talked about today. Sitting for long periods without regular movement. Not eating enough protein to support healthy muscles. Waiting until you're thirsty before drinking water. Treating good sleep as something that isn't important. Living with constant stress without making time for recovery. Waiting for the perfect moment to take care of your health. Believing it's too late to make positive changes. If even one of these habits sounded familiar, don't try to change everything at once. Choose just one. Practice it consistently for the next week. Then build from there. Healthy aging isn't won in a single day. It's built one choice, one meal, one walk, one good night's sleep, and one healthy habit at a time. And before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 habits surprised you the most? And which one are you going to work on first? Share your answer in the comments. Your story might encourage someone else who is on the same journey. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Wise Senior Health, and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly videos on healthy aging, natural wellness, and practical lifestyle tips. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself, stay curious, stay active, and remember, every healthy choice you make today is an investment in the life you want to enjoy tomorrow.